Okay guys, it's Gun here, and we're going to discuss the Fire Fists. In the Fire Fist there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 monsters that are of Fire Fist named. Um, let's start with the most relevant to the least relevant. Fire Fist Bear. His effect is he can send one fire formation from the field to the grave to pop one monster, and if he attacks directly, well, if he inflicts battle damage, he will set a fire formation from the deck to the field. Now, Gorilla. Gorilla is the same, but you have to send a fire formation to pop a trap or a spell or trap. And then if he destroys a monster by battle, he can set one fire formation spell card from the deck. And then we got Dragon. If there's a fire formation that's been activated this turn while he's face up on the field, you can set one trap from the deck. And then if there are two face up fire formations on the field, you can send them to the grave to reborn one Fire Fist monster from the grave. Now let's go on to the least relevant ones. Fire Fist Snake. You can send one fire formation from the field to the no, you can send two fire formations from the field to the grave to draw one card, and if you send a fire formation from the field to the grave while he's face up on the field, you can set another trap. And then there's Swallow. Swallow, whenever he's normal summoned or special summoned, you get to set a fire formation from the deck. Doesn't matter if it's spell or trap, but he's a level 5. And then you got Spirit. Spirit, whenever it's normal summoned, you can special summon one fire from the grave that has 200 defense. At the moment, only Fire Fist with 200 defense is Spirit, so not very relevant. Then we got Hawk. Hawk boosts all the Fire Fist on the field if there's a face of fire formation, so he's decent if you're trying to get a big boost. And then we got Raven. Raven, if he's destroyed, you can set a spell or trap, fire formation trap, directly from the deck. Now let's go on to the spells and traps. We got Tenki. Tenki lets you add a Beast Warrior to your hand, but you have to be careful because MST will stop it. And then you got Tensu. Tensu lets you it's basically a double summon. It lets you normal summon again that turn. And that's for the spells. And then we got the traps. For traps we got Tensen, which is during damage step you can increase your monster by 700 and then all the other beast warriors by 300, so basically it's 1000 for that turn. And then you got Tenken, which is basically a forbidden lance but only during main phase 1. And then you got Seto. Seto, you can banish 7 fire formation spells or traps in the grave, special summon as many fire fist monsters as possible from your graveyard. Now that's for the basic fire fist and fire formations. The most relevant Fire Fist are Dragon, Bear, and Gorilla. And the most relevant traps are Tensen, and some people like to tech the Tenken, but you don't have to. Now let's look into other cards that you can tech into the deck. You can tech Lance. Lance is very good this format, especially in the mirror match. And because Warning went down, a lot of people are playing replacements for it. So it protects your monsters, and since you run a low monster count, it's very good. And then other techs you can play are the Rabbit engine. You can play Rescue Rabbit and then run the vanillas. And the vanillas we have are Ninkendog, which is a wind type, which lets you go into Lightning Shidori. You got Vorse Raider, which is a dark target, which means you can play Deck Devi. And then we got Gene Warped, which he's just the biggest of all the normal Beast Warriors, so he's very good for getting over Thunder Kings and that stuff. So it's all player preference. And then we got the last Beast Warrior tech that I can think of, Reborn Tengu. Tengu lets you keep your field presence, and field presence is important in this deck. So Reborn Tengu is a very good tech option if you want to keep your field presence. Now a trap card that you can tech in the deck, if you go with the Vorse Raider, is Deck Devi. You can either play that in the main or in the side. It's probably better in the side because it's not going to be always good against all other matchups. And that is basically all that you can tech. The rest of the deck is mostly just pick your staples and then shove in all the staple cards. Now let's look at cards that hurt this deck. Cards that hurt this deck is Lance, especially during damage step. If someone flips a lance on you during damage step, you're gonna get like slammed hard. Like the Fire Fist monsters themselves are not very big. Bear is only 1600, and Lance takes away 800. So bear's 800. There's not a lot of things that are smaller than 800, so you're gonna get smacked for some pretty hard damage if they flip Lance. Another card that hurts this deck is Effect Veiler, especially when you send a fire formation from the field to the grave to pop something, and they drop an Effect Veiler, you get nothing. Even if you inflict damage, you can't even set your fire formation. So Lance really hurts. Another card that really hurts is Fiendish Chain. Just like just like Effect Veiler, this really hurts because first of all, it negates your effect. Second of all, this stops you from attacking. And if you can't attack, you can't do anything in Fire Fist. Now, other cards that really hurt this deck are Mirror Force and Deprison. Deprison is good because you're gonna force them to play Lance. If they play Lance, their monster's gonna be small, so you're probably gonna run over the monster, or they're gonna let it get banished, which is a horrible option in this deck because you run so little monsters and you'd rather have it in the grave. And then Mirror Force, just because it's mass field removal, and they can have upwards to 1 to 2 monsters on the field because they tend to keep a lot of back row, so they protect their monsters. So Mirror Force is a good field wipe. And then we got Mind Crush, because the deck adds so much to the hand. Mind Crush is a really good side option against this deck. If they go Tenki, and then add something and you Mind Crush it, you're automatically in a winning position. They really didn't do anything that. They got that 100 boost, and that's not really going to help them much. Then we got Malevolent Catastrophe. This hits all the back row if your opponent declares an attack. So basically it's another Heavy Storm, which is a really good side option if you're not playing like a heavy back row deck, and you can easily side this in, or you can put in Royals. And then we got MST. MST is an amazing card against this deck. Just because if they try and go Tenki, and you flip up space, it negates it basically. They don't get the search, they don't get anything. You basically 1-for-1 them, but it really hurts in this deck because if you hit their Tenki, that probably means they don't have a monster in hand, so you're probably in a winning position. And then we got Macrocosmos. Macrocosmos hurts the deck because if they can't send their fire formation spells to the grave, or their traps to the grave, to pop, or do anything, they can't do anything, basically. They're in a losing position. They need their effects to pop to really be in that dominant position where they can control you. And that's cards that you can tech into the deck, and then cards that work against the deck. And that's my 2 cents on the deck, guys. It's a very good deck. I'm thinking it's in the tier 1 spot right now. If something pops up and knocks it off its high block, I don't think it will. I think this deck is only going to get more viable when Vers come out because everyone's going to jump on that bandwagon. And Fire Fist, honestly, are the best counter to that deck. So, the format's going to look a lot like Prophecies, Vers, Fire Fist, and Mermails. So I think this is a very good option for a deck to pick up. And if you were looking into buying this deck, I would highly recommend it. It's very fun to play. It's very controlling. If you ever played Inzectors, it's a little like that. You pop, you gain advantage. You're always in that plusing position. So, this is Gun signing off. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And this is TeamMisplayed out. Later.